Well, we all know you have a lot of questions about this huge, massive tech outage and all the ways that you might be impacted. 19 data journalist Jeff Slauson talking with an expert to kind of give us some clarity about what is happening and when it might be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people probably woke up and did the same thing I did, which is try and figure out exactly what happened in all of this. And we need to go to experts for this. So we're bringing in Fred Franks with Fit Technologies, the Chief Strategy Officer there. Fred, excuse me. We're going to start very briefly, very generally here. Just what exactly happened in this and kind of how did it happen?
Yeah, well, I think the part that everybody needs to understand is that the software that caused this problem is built to protect people. And a lot of the software out there, it has this same level of access to the system. So essentially a tool that was built to keep PCs safe from malware and bad actors had a bug. And so because it has such deep integration into the operating system, into the computer itself, it has the power to completely shut it down. And so at a high level, a bad update went out and shut all of those PCs down.
Yeah, Fred, I think for a lot of people, they may be wondering, how can that one bad thing feed into so many other things and ultimately lead to this issue? I mean, is that pretty common where one problem can cause issues basically around the world?
No, this is very uncommon. I would say in over 20 years of IT, I've never seen something this pervasive in terms of an outage experienced by the community. And I think that what made this so impactful is that CrowdStrike, this particular software, is one of the best in its category. It's a leading software security tool out there. And so many organizations are running it. And even, some of the organizations that don't run it, their third-party softwares, the other tools that their companies use had it in its place. So imagine, it's not just my computers, but if I run this software, a cloud, a web-based hosted software, if they're using that, then it would also be impacted. So you could think of like point of sale systems, a grocery store or an airline or a restaurant may not be running the software, but if they're using a system that has that on the back end, it would be impacted too.
Fred, I think the one thing that people are trying to take away from this, I mean, a lot of people were obviously scared, which you get, but how likely is this to happen again if this has happened? I know you said it's very rare, but could this be happening again in the future?
Yeah, I think that's the piece, I would make sure that everybody has awareness that this is something that it's not just specific to this tool. It could happen to any of the tools that have this particular type of access, the very base foundation level access. So the odds of it happening again, I mean, it hasn't happened that often. This is the first time that something this major has happened, but it could happen again because of the level of access. And I guess what is the most surprising is, and not seeing the details out yet, and certainly that somebody didn't, there must have been testing that didn't occur because for it to be so pervasive and hit so many devices, it just feels like it didn't go through the proper rings of testing. And, you can always Monday morning quarterback something, but that's where our first inclination goes to is how did this get through to so many devices without being tested?
Fred Franks, Chief Strategy Officer with Fit Technologies. Thank you so much. A lot of questions still to be answered. Help to get an expert opinion on some of this.
Now you're